he who wants friends must first be friendly.
Mm.
So if you don't have friends, call yourself into a meeting. Am I friendly? Yeah?
Yeah.
So if you don't like your children, call yourself into a meeting.
Yeah.
How have you raised them? Because, like I said, you're the template.
Sure.
They're looking at you.
Mm.
If you're present in their lives as a dad, they're looking at you. This is what it means to be a man. If it's a woman and you're looking at your daughters and you don't like them, question is, are you a likable woman?
Mm.
Because children tend to assume the identity of the parent of the same gender.
That's true.
Okay.
Hello and welcome again to yet another episode, and this time I have someone who's been here before and he shared with us some really good tips on how a husband should be, how a man should be, and we couldn't wait to have him again. And once again, a quick reminder that here we impact women and provide information that makes them a powerhouse for themselves and for their families through the art of storytelling. So every guest who sits here just shares their story and what they believe in with the sole purpose of empowering. So welcome again, and I will let my guest reintroduce himself. And thank you for coming back again. Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Lucy.
Thank you for coming.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd have me back for the
It
last
was really, after all that information that you gave us, that was so helpful. We had to have you again.
That is very humbling to hear. And I see today you brought me flowers.
I did.
At least now the bombshell feels included. Yeah?
In the other one, on camera, you told me, why have you removed flowers? So we have brought them back again.
It's because I've seen your vlog, and I normally see you, your vodcast, sorry,
Yeah.
and I normally see you having flowers with the other guests, and I'm like, and men don't have flowers. Gender inclusivity must be a reality. Yeah?
Stereotyping in action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just for the benefit of the audience,
Yeah.
as I said last time, my name is Karan Oshiri. I am a public servant, which I take to be a high calling and a true pleasure to be of service to the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
My work, and I am a husband to one wife and a father to 3 children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. We have not yet got into teenage years. We'll have you again when they do.
Well,
But
and I hope
teenager,
I shall have a good testimony of them. But
Yeah.
they're good kids.
They can even bring you, and then we can cross-check if the things you're saying, the things that
Would you be able to handle them? There are balls of energy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Energy is passed on. So if they come with energy, I will get it and try and fit in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
All right. So last episode we stopped at you were walking us through what a role of a husband is, and you rightfully said you cannot start there if the man is not the man; he's just a man. So now that we spoke about the role of a husband, and I really like that that's how you chose to answer that question, because only when you're a man can you be a husband, and then can you be a father.
Yes.
So maybe we can pick it from there. So now that we have the man, we have the husband, what then is the role of the husband or the father? Yes.
I think how I would like to take that question is
Yeah.
to move. So now I met this man and he's great.
Yeah.
You've fallen in love
Mm.
and you've gone and exchanged your vows of marriage.
Yeah.
And then now here you are. I think, like I said last time, husband and wife is a complete family.
Yeah.
And we tend to brush or skim past through that, and yet that is so critical,
Yeah.
because I think we need to look at the marriage institution itself, because marriage is an institution.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, any institution that you work in is governed by principles, is governed by laws. And so what I would like maybe to look at is what are the governing principles of marriage? Generally, there are many. But in my marriage, I think what I think has anchored us is 2 things, basically. Is the principle of transcendence and the principle of priority. Yeah. Because you see, marriage, if done right, if done God's way, is meant to succeed. We normally talk about this thing of, I'm looking for my soulmate, or I can't wait to find my soulmate.
Yeah.
But the truth is, soulmates are made, they're not found.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Can they be made somewhere and then I meet them?
Don't try to compute products. That's the right way. No, because you see, at the end of the day, we all have different constructs. There's a history I have. There's a family I come from, a origin.
Whatnot.
You know, the experiences I've gone through in life that have shaped me. And same thing with her.
Yeah.
There's a way her parents raised her. There's a way society formed her.
Yeah.
There's a way she's gone through certain experiences and then she's come.
Yeah.
So here we are, two different people, two different life experiences. And somehow we're meant to make this work. My friend, there's no such thing as I found my soulmate. So we have to make it work.
Yeah.
So you make your soulmate.
Yeah.
You don't find a soulmate.
Okay, I like that. I like that.
So when you find your soul, or rather when you make your soulmate, there are two things. So if marriage is founded on God, because you can have a pagan marriage, and that's okay, or you can have a godly marriage. And as I said, the philosophical basis that my father taught me to anchor my life on is the Bible. And so when I look at the Bible, what does it say? Given that he found with God, what does it talk about? And he says that it is meant to last for generations, because he says, I shall bless you to the 1,000th generation, or I shall curse you to the 3rd and 4th generation.
Yeah.
But I tend to look at that as, him being merciful, because he talks about cursing to the 3rd and 4th, but blessings to the 1,000th. I mean, have you conceptualized 1,000 generations? And so when you think about it, you're talking at least a minimum 30,000 years. Yeah, because a generation span is, so depending on who you talk to, a generation is 30 years or a generation is 40 years.
Yeah.
So if I take the lower off, 30 years being a generation by 1,000, that's 30,000 years. And God wants to bless my generations through. So when we come together in this marriage, is that we have to know that it is transcendent. It's not just for the here and now. It's about what shall you live. And like I said, children are a bonus. So if it's just me and my wife and I, so the question becomes, how does he bless you to 1,000th generation?
Does it end there?
Yeah. No, that lies your impact in that God is speaking to
through this institution that
this
is marriage.
institution that is marriage. Maybe you've adopted. Supported other children, maybe you're speaking to other people, your nieces, your nephews. Maybe they're looking at you and seeing that it is possible to just be married to two people, not have children, and be fully committed to each other. And they'll talk about that story over and over, and therefore the children they have, and the children's children they have, and the children's children they have are referencing your marriage. But in the case where you are blessed and you do have the bonus and you do have children, then now you have a direct line through which to ensure the purposes of God are carried out, they're done, and it is transcendent. So that's why I said what matters more is not what you leave to your children, and it is important to leave something to them, but critically you must leave something in them. So when we look at it like that, at least for my spouse and I, we always ask ourselves, what shall be the transcendent nature of our union? Just the two of us. Just you and me, baby. My ride or die. Then the other principle is the principle of priority. And I mean, there are many others. Let me just talk about the transcendent priority. You see, marriage only works in first place. And this one I learned from my sibling, the one I was talking about the other episode. And there's one day I was hanging out with her, and can't remember how we got talking about marriage. I was married at the time. And she said, Karan, my husband comes first. And none of you are even a close second.
Oh, wow.
What do you mean I'm not even a close second? And it's wisdom I learned years later, or rather I understood years later. Your wife is in a category, or your husband is in a category of his own. When you exchange vows, you say forsaking all.
Actually do.
You do. So it means forsaking your parents, forsaking your children, forsaking your siblings, forsaking your friends. And I'm not saying forsaking in the sense of
forsaking the literal sense,
literal sense. It just means nobody else is allowed to come before your spouse. So marriage only works in first place. It's the law of priority.
Lovely. Can already think of scenarios.
Even
there, they come first.
Imagine.
When you're in emergency and the doctor tells you either save the child or the mother. So is it a simple answer that it's the mother?
It's the mother.
Oh, really?
Difficult. Don't get me wrong.
Difficult,
I mean,
yeah, of course, of
I love my kids. I mean, I love them to smithereens, okay? But the mom comes first.
But that's how it is.
That's how it is.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer
Mm.
because it's not.
It's not.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're anticipating this child, prepared for this child. You probably, you know, kitted out their nursery. Like, you've already envisioned, maybe you've got an education policy for them. You've thought of how their life could be. And then here you are being literally making a life decision.
Yeah. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I know people have been in those particular situations, and whatever decision they made, I think they made the best decision
They knew at the time. Yeah.
But in an ideal world, because now let's talk about
it. Yeah.
It's she comes first or he comes first.
Yeah.
And you see, if I know I come first and my parents second, my children second, my parents for her, or my siblings, you know, then she has security. You know, it gives you a lot of security.
Yeah.
Because what's the number one complaint men make when kids starting a come along? She no longer has time for me.
Yeah.
Or don't prioritize me.
Yeah.
And you know,
and it's true.
And it's true.
It's true. Yeah.
And I mean, see, in wisdom, in context and season. But if you can give your spouse the confidence
that they are first,
and that there shall be no interference. And I must say, I've been blessed. I have good in-laws. Yeah, I mean, when I look at my mom and my dad, lovely people.
Yeah.
My siblings. And you know, I'm just using law because it's the legal term.
Yeah. This is a saying love. Sisters in love.
Yeah, sisters in love. In love. Yeah. But I come first. And I need to do the same for her. You know.
Yeah.
And it's all nice to say, I need to come first on her side of the family. But now it's your side, you're thinking, hey, before my mom, my dad, my siblings all known for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yo, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
She has to come first. No ands, no ifs, no buts.
Yeah.
And even with our children, it's not that my son comes first or my daughter's. No.
It's her.
Mom is in a category of her. Then the rest of you. Yeah. And then now, of course, my wife, it's my children, my parents, my siblings, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we have that understanding that I come first and that she comes first, it makes the marriage
so seamless.
That much seamless, that much easier.
Easier. Okay.
Easier.
Yeah. Okay.
Seamless is when we get to heaven. Yeah. You know,
Okay.
Marriage has its ups and downs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So priority and what is the first one you said?
Transcendent.
So those are for a good marriage to succeed.
Yeah.
So then how do those two inform how you become a father and how you parent your children? And what are those things that maybe you know, like we always say the role of a husband were to those 5 things. Are there those that are the role of a father that you could categorize like that? Or
Of course.
Yeah.
And again, this is wisdom I'm passing on from a lot of people. Other people and things I've spoken, because there's no such thing as you have a monopoly of information. So I'm constantly seeking out older men, older women, just to talk to them and to understand what does parenting look like, what does marriage look like, so that I can be better informed. I mean, if you've gone the journey ahead of me, sure,
you think,
you can save me a lot of agony
Yes.
in that space.
Yeah.
So this is wisdom I'm just passing on from other people who have been kind enough to pour into my life.
Yeah.
So when I look at parenting, you just go to, again, like I said, philosophical basis of life. And now this one you go to, it's actually throughout all the Gospels.
Yeah.
And when Jesus is coming down and is about to be baptized by John, and he's baptized and he comes up and the whole heavens open up.
Yeah.
And then God says, this is my son who I love, whom I'm well pleased. That sentence is the entire template for parenting.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because your children need to know that they are owned by you. Yeah?
Owned.
Owned by you.
Okay.
You see, God didn't say, this is Jesus. No. He said, this is my son.
Yeah.
There's a way that my children respond when I call them my son or my daughter, as opposed to their name. And I mean, they love their name.
Yeah, of course.
They do.
Yeah.
So let's say it's Lucy. I've called, hey, Lucy, come here. You can take 2-3 seconds. But there's a way when I'm looking at them and I say, my son.
Yeah.
There's a welling that comes up because I'm identifying who they belong to.
Yeah.
Because, and you see what that does by saying this is my son, is that it's giving them identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because who you are is premised on whose you are. Yeah? So if you know whose you are, it's that much easier for you to know who you are.
Yeah.
So if Jesus needed to be affirmed on his identity, how much more me and how much more children
need it. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying last time, that fathers carry a very critical role because identity stems from you. It's you.
Yeah, from your grandfather to your dad, and then now to that identity goes.
It goes on, and it's not just limited to boys; it's girls as well. It's fathers call out the identity out of their girl.
Yeah,
fathers call out identity out of their son. So when it comes to parenting, your children need to know that they belong to you. Who is premised on whose they are. Right?
Yeah.
So comes out and is told, this is my son. Then the next thing, who I love. Okay. God wasn't ambiguous. Said, I love you.
Yeah.
Okay. We have this African thing. Okay. Before you're told I love you.
But your dad, Kwanzaa.
But I can say I've been blessed to hear it from my father. Yeah, it's not an everyday thing. I mean, baby boomer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I've had it.
Yeah.
And there's a way grounded. Yeah. Because when I knew I was loved, it set me free. Love has a way of setting you free to become the best you can be.
Sure.
Because I don't have to do anything or be anything
be worthy somehow.
To be worthy or to earn it. I'm already. Because you realize this is before, Jesus had raised people from the dead, gone and cast out demons or healed the sick, given the blind sight. He done nothing. I mean, you just believe you've done zero.
Yeah.
But I love you.
Yeah.
So love is not premised on what the person has done.
Can do or has done. Yeah.
It just needs to be unconditional and needs to be free because that frees you.
Yeah.
One of my good friends is a basketball fan. But there's this story he's told me repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it stuck.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the black mamba. Yeah. And he says that the black mamba for the longest time, and I'm sure basketball fans will get the analogy. When he was starting out, there's a day he went, before he became a star, and he was shooting hoops, and that day, he was playing the game, and that day he couldn't shoot a hoop, he couldn't score, he played the worst game of his life.
Yeah.
And his father, after the game, just came and hugged him and told him, I'm proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I love you.
Yeah.
He says that when his father gave him permission to fail, it set him free to excel.
To excel, yeah. Because you don't need to be worried, what if you fail, you loved. You just need to excel. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, I have high standards for my children. So this is not to say don't have standards for your kids. Have them.
Yeah.
Because children rise to the
occasion.
They rise to the occasion of the expectation. Okay. But love needs to be unconditional. Okay. They need to know that they are loved by you, not because of anything they can do, but because they just are.
Your children, yeah.
They just are. Okay. So give them an identity. Yeah. Let them know they belong to you. Love them so that you can set them free to pursue their highest version of themselves.
Yeah.
And then he says, in whom please. Yeah. It's one thing to love your children. Remember to like them. You see, when they're friends, you love. Well, let me put it in the context of family.
Yeah.
Now, their siblings or their uncles or their cousins you love. But you could not
do
that. You don't like them.
I like that analogy. There's somebody who told me in marriage, we love each other. That one will never change. But there are days I really do not like you.
You see?
So the most important question is to keep checking. Do you still like me as a human being? So yeah, there's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So your children need to know that you like them, okay, and that you're proud of them,
Yeah.
right, and that you delight in them, because that's a place of affirmation. So they have an identity, they're loved, and they're fun.
Yeah.
Okay, because they know they're liked. But for you to like your children, and now this is where the rubber meets the road, raise likable children.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a parent, it's on you. You want to like your kids.
Completely on you.
It's on you. You want to like them? Raise them in a way that you are sure you can. They're likable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even scripture says that he who wants friends must first be friendly. So if you don't have friends, call yourself into a meeting. Am I friendly? Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you don't like your children, call yourself into a meeting.
Yeah.
How have you raised them? Because, like I said, you're the template.
Sure.
They're looking at you. If you're present in their lives as a dad, they're looking at you. This is what it means to be a man. If it's a woman and you're looking at your daughters and you don't like them, the question is, are you a likable woman? Because children tend to assume the identity of the parent of the same gender.
That's true.
Okay? So girls tend to look at their mom.
Oh.
Boys look at their dad. Okay?
Yeah.
So while identity stems from the dad, but in terms of mannerisms and behaviors, it's normally more aligned to gender. Okay, of course there are things that boys need from their mother, but there are things dads need and girls need from their dad.
Yeah.
There are also things boys need from their father and girls need from their dad. Okay? So that's the thing about parenting. Yeah. So just let them know they belong to you, they have an identity.
Yeah.
Let them know they're loved, so they can be free, and of course let them know that you're proud of them, they're likable. So that they're affirmed and have confidence, because with affirmation comes confidence. You don't raise confident children, so affirm them.
Yeah. And the opposite of loving, the way you said, love sets you free. The opposite is so true. When you don't have love, you somehow are a slave to people, because you are looking for things that you did not get from your parents.
Yeah.
So you are in maybe like an abusive marriage or relationship, because there's something you innately need in you that was not given to you. So you can't be free. So those are the people you talk to and you're like, why are you still in this relationship? You can't understand, because even for them, probably they don't know what they're looking for. It's because they missed it growing up from their parents or whatnot. There's something you said, I don't know if it's at the beginning or the previous time, but around the way you love your children, or the way a husband should love the wife, emulates how they experience love or they experience mannerism. So do you want to touch a bit on that?
Yes, it's very simple. You see, families are not built on children. Families are built around the marriage.
The relationship, yeah.
So when you have a strong marriage, then you have a strong family. The family, the marriage is the nucleus.
Yeah.
And the marriage is you and your wife. You see, I'm not married to my children. I'm married to my wife. Or if the woman who's watching the show, you're not married to your children, you're married to your husband. So the family is built around the marriage, not children. So if my children can see that I place a premium and a value on the relationship that I have with my wife, then it gives them that sense of security, because they know this is home. Nothing can break it.
Yeah.
Nothing can shake it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they know that they are free to express themselves within boundaries. You see, more often than not, when children are lashing out, it's there's something they're not getting. There's an insecurity. That's why fighting in front of your kids, or being confrontational in front of them, that's seeding insecurity within them. So they'll start lashing out, because in them they want to know that mom and dad are solid. In them they want to know that mom and dad are the people I can turn to as a unit. Yeah. Because you see, when you and your spouse say things don't work, okay, those are adult problems. Those are not children's problems. So in the eyes of this child, if you're separated, so you're living in different homes, maybe you're pouring poison to this child, or you're following them, so all your man is like this. Okay? What you're not realizing is, in the eyes of this child, they love you unconditionally. So you're busy poisoning them against their mother, if it's a father. But in their eyes, they love the mom unconditionally. Or you're the mom and you're poisoning that child against the father. But in the eyes of that child, that's the dad. What are you doing to that child? It's unconditional. So if you have adult problems, and for one reason or the other, you can't get along.
Yeah.
Don't drag your children
Into it. Yeah.
Don't. Just don't do that. It's so unfair to put that burden on children. It's just
It is. I don't know why people do it. You think everyone knows that, but therefore still will drag children into just for them to win in that particular maybe argument or situation. They don't know what you're doing to that child for the rest of their life. They will really have to work really hard to undo what you do to them psychologically or not.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And also but that's why I also premised it on look at how this person grew up. Maybe that's how they grew up. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they grew up in a conflict home. So
Yeah.
they don't know anything different. Maybe they grew up with parents who used to try and pull children into sides. Okay, so when it happens in their situation, down to pull. Okay, so the thing for that place, if say you're separated, but you've come to a meeting of yourself and you can see maybe this person didn't grow up in a healthy environment.
Yeah.
I would ask that you have the magnanimity, maturity to seek help for that person or try and nudge them in that
Into that
direction. Or if you've come to a meeting of yourself and you realize you're the person who's like that, have the courage to go and seek help because you cannot treat yourself. As the Swahili say, muganga na jigangi. Huwezi jiganga. So you have to go to a third party to help you unpack
all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. To this parenting, is there anything you're so proud of that you've done in your fathering, and maybe one more thing that you think you could have done better or that has made you doubt in being a good father?
That's a tough question. Proud of? I try to be as present as possible. I feel more present. But I do my best.
Yeah.
Because the present of your presence is the best gift you can give
children. Yeah.
Because they need to be known to you and you need to be known to them. Because there are people who have a relationship, or rather, I can't call that a relationship. You have your father in your life, but you don't have a relationship. You don't know his dad. Or you, as maybe now you're the dad, you have all the children, but you're looking at them and you don't know them.
You don't know them.
And that is a function of time. Because love to children is spelled time. Time. How much time did you spend with this person? And if now you're all grown ups, doesn't mean it's all lost. It just means there's a lot more work to be done.
True.
So, but if your children are young and, maybe not as present as possible, you have to, you can reverse that so that you don't have to try and recover this thing as adults. Okay. So the one thing I would say that I'm most proud of is to try as much as possible to be present in their lives. But that has been my story so far. It doesn't mean it cannot change.
Yeah, true.
Because, like I said, seasons of life. What if I am posted out of the country due to the virus?
To be as present,
Can't be as present as I want. And maybe before I set the possibility of my family moving in the whole year, or maybe 2.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a short-term posting and you've been given the assurance that it's a 3-year posting.
Until
now you're starting to think, do I move with them for 3 years? What does that do to their education? What does that do to their social fabric? Or I move with them and we see how it goes.
Yeah.
So again, those type of considerations have to be made.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Okay. Anything that I could improve, I think if you ask any parent every day, they're questioning themselves.
True.
You don't know. Yeah? I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I don't know if I'm wounding them. The best I can say is I do the best I can with what I know and where I'm at. If the things are not getting right, at least I have my spouse to point out those things. And if both my spouse and I are blind to that issue, we have people in our lives that we've given authority to speak into our children, into our lives.
Okay.
It's your job to
about that.
It's your job to raise your kids, not that party.
Okay.
It's your job.
Yeah.
So, but we have people who we have given permission to speak into our lives, and when they see something, they have carte blanche to point it out and talk about it.
Yeah.
So maybe I would say those are guardrails that
Okay.
we have.
Okay. And you've said that, and there's a guest I had before, and they were also saying how in life you can't do many things alone. You need a community, you need, people who've been there before that you can learn from. So would you say that's one of the other things, principles that you've put in place to make sure that your family institution is working? Do you think two people can survive and conquer the world by themselves?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because it's situational, it's circumstantial.
Mm.
What if you're in a place where you're the ones who are meant to influence? Yeah. And therefore you're the guys who are the lights in that particular scenario.
Mm.
So saying that you're going to have them point to you, it's difficult.
Okay. Yeah.
But that is the exception, not the rule. But most of the times, growth demands accountability. It is not an all situation. If you want to grow, you must be accountable.
Yeah.
So you want to grow as a parent, you have to be accountable to someone. You want to grow as a husband, you have to be accountable. You have to grow as a wife, you have to be accountable. You want the marriage to grow, accountability.
Yeah.
Growth demands accountability. Even in your career, for it to grow, you have to be accountable to somebody. There is a chain, over and above the chain of command.
Yeah.
You must have that internal drive to look for somebody to help you grow above and beyond the scope that you're in.
I like that. Yeah.
So that you can lift and rise. Station.
I like that because there's a guest I had and she said one of the things that have been able to get her to where she is that accountability role. She makes sure she has accountability partners for her health or her gym attendance. She has accountability, of course, with her husband and the couple of friends they have. She has accountability for her spiritual life or at this point in her life, and make sure that she's reading the Bible, attending Bible study, whatever it is. So I like that you've brought in that accountability even in parenting, that each of you are accountable to each other and even maybe accountable to your children, because that's growth.
And you need to choose them carefully.
Yeah.
I choose the people that speak into my life very carefully.
Yeah.
And also the caveat I normally give is I have the right to grow you. So if the season of that accountability with this specific person has come to an end, stop holding on to it.
Seasons,
If you've outgrown the person, because you cannot grow a mentor.
That's true.
You can grow an accountability person.
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the friendship is over. It just means that the accountability season
is over. Yeah.
And therefore now you look for the next person. Yeah. Because deep calls out to deep. So look for the next person who has more depth than you. We can't be at the same level.
Yeah.
I'm going to be accountable to you. There must be a depth you have that I don't.
Yeah.
So if we are at the same level, it just means we can be friends.
Yeah. What was that you said about depth? You have given me so many nuggets.
The deep calls out to deep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the people that I speak to are deep.
Lovely. Short and sweet.
I try to keep things short.
We're also trying something new with the podcast where we make it topical, discuss that, and then post it. Because actually it was you who walked me through that. It was like, these stories are good, and as much as a story is important from the beginning to the end, it's also, when you're listening to a story, it's very easy to lose what you forgot, what you had at the first 10 minutes versus what you had towards 1 hour, 30 minutes later. So we are trying this new thing of making it very topical and ending it at that.
Somebody once taught me brevity is a soul of it.
Oh,
so
okay.
Brief.
Yeah. As opposed to the long story. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for coming, and we should have you again if you let us.
It's your show, so as and when.
Okay. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.